Okay, the Hangout is now on air. Welcome everybody to the Hangout on the Quality Lighting Teaching Kit. This was a project that started with the International Year of Light last year in 2015. It was supported by the people from the International Astronomical Union and from the Optical Society of America, as well as from my home institute, the National Optical Astronomy Observatory. My name is Connie Walker. I'm one of the two co-directors of this project. My other co-director is Steve Pompey, and with me here today is actually Carlton Stant.
Hey guys.
Carlton, you want to say a few minutes?
My name is Carlton Stant. I worked on the QLT teaching kits. I was the spokesperson for the night sky section of the Core Light teaching kit, and I am fairly familiar. I've been working here for probably closer to a year now, just working with public outreach and other aspects of that.
And he's the star of the tutorial video on the light pollution and quality and night sky activities. So if you've seen that, that's a good place to gather your questions. If you haven't seen it already, it's only 7.5 minutes, and it's on YouTube. And actually listed also at the bottom of our webpage, which you can see on our showcase. It's the Quality Lighting Teaching Kit webpage with all our activities on it. And also with me here today are our three illustrious guests. I'm going to introduce them from my left to my right, as on my lower screen here. We first have David Ingram, and David is the head of the International Dark Sky Association for the northwestern part of the United States. David, would you like to say a few words? Oh, you're muted again. David and I have this running problem. Try to get that unmuted. Oh, you're muted again. Okay, try again. No, we're going to have to work on that a little bit, David. You're muted. Put the mic close to your mouth, perhaps. No, we're going to have to get back to you, David. Can you keep working on that, please? Okay. So, Peter?
Okay.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Connie. And hi, Stant. And hi, Prosper. And hi, David. I'm Peter. I'm a scientific officer with Center for Basic Space Science. And our mandate in our office is research in astronomy. It's pleased to meet you guys.
Well, you talk about the Monday Hangout. Monday Hangouts are kind of hard for people in Africa to do. It's not your time zone. It's for Australia. So don't feel bad about missing the Monday one at all. And let's say hello to Prosperi here. Prosperi and I have been on a previous project together. How are you, Prosperi? Tell everybody where you're from.
I'm fine, Connie. My name is Prosper Simpemba. I'm from Zambia, Central Africa, and I'm based at the Copperbelt University. I'm a physics lecturer there, and I teach some astronomy courses.
Yeah, and Prosperi and I were on a previous project 3 years ago called Dark Skies Africa, and that also was an IAU, an International Astronomical Union Office of Astronomy for Development project, long title. And we had a blast with at least a half a dozen to a dozen other countries in Africa doing dark skies education. But this time, we're lucky to have Prosperi and Peter here. They're representing 2 of the 10 regional nodes that are involved with the Office of Astronomy for Development in promoting things like light pollution and other things about astronomy. And they've each received a kit. And David, as part of the International Dark Sky Association, has also received a kit, as has another 9 chapter leaders of the International Dark Sky Association around the world. But now we thought we'd remind the viewers that we have the capability, if you have a Google account or say a Gmail account, email account, that you're able to get online and ask as many questions that are related to the Quality Lighting Teaching Kit or this particular activity on the night sky, that as many questions as you would like. And all you have to do is on your screen, the one you're viewing right now, probably to the upper right-hand side, you will see a sort of a square with 9 little squares in it, like a 3 by 3 configuration. To me, it almost looks like a Rubik's Cube. And if you click on that, you'll see that a couple apps will appear, and one of those apps will be called Q&A. And you click on that, and you can submit your questions to us that way. And please feel free, as many as you want. I'm sure we'll get to them, no problem. All right, so what we'd like to do now is just give you a slight overview. I'm going to let Paulson take over here, and he's going to give you a slight overview of the night sky activity as it is in the kit. Okay.
Thank you, Connie. So, like I said, just a quick overview. I'm not going so far into detail. The video has more information there if you want to check that out. I'm going to go over where things are located first. So here is the teaching kit. And the night sky box is located right here. And there you'll find most of the stuff you need. There's also a backup projector underneath all of this. I can't exactly pull it up because there's a bunch of stuff here. So that you've got the night sky poster along with the other ones in this poster too here. I think so, yeah. Your night sky projector is going to be right here, found next to the posters.
And this is the backup one that I'm showing you right now.
Yeah.
This is the real one that you want.
You've got instructions for the backup one to make this. This is a backup star projector. You stick a flashlight in here and it does its job pretty well. That's located in the envelope back here. Do we have envelope?
Oh, it's in the instructor's guide, remember?
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
in the instructor's guide. Cool. So now that there's everything there, you're going to start your setup with 2 pieces of construction paper. This is just to reduce the glare from any type of reflective surface you might have on the table. And you're going to set it up for the first activity. You're going to have your star projector on one end. Go ahead and hit LED. You have an option for like the multicolor stuff here. You don't really need to mess with that. It's superfluous. You have that, and then you're going to set up a globe light with the mag light that you put in the kit. Go ahead and unscrew this. You can use the cap as like a base for it. It helps it stand a little better. And then you'll put there's a hole in the bottom of this ping pong ball. Go ahead and slide that over the bulb. And you've got a globe light. You guys can see that. So the first activity deals with the proximity to a city and how proximity to the city limits the visibility of the night sky. So we also have a piece of paper. On it I've drawn a circle 8 inches in diameter just to fill up as much of the paper as possible. And what you do, you hold that above the star projector. You can't see it here, but I've got a few pictures that will kind of help demonstrate this a little better. Yeah, could you show them the picture of the star projector? This first one?
Oh, yeah.
So ideally you want the stars in this top view, the circle, to fill up the entire circle here. And from here, you're going to have the kids, you can have them count the stars or just go by visibility, depending on what you want to go with. The age group of your kids, get the first one. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't know how well that shows up. That's the best picture I could get of it. Having count that, you can use a trick. We've got a transparency here. It's just divided up into 4 parts. You can throw that on top of the star projector, and that helps count them. Just count stars in 1/4, multiply by 4, and you've got a pretty good estimate.
Show that again, please. There's some other stuff we can
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so here's our projector, our transparency divided up into 4s. You can throw that over the top, you guys have that. And then from there, the X should also show up on this piece of paper. I don't know how well the stars show up on this, let alone the X, but in a dark room. if you want. All right. So we're going to turn off the lights here, hopefully give you guys a better picture. I don't know, how well can you guys see that? Recently? That's all right.
It's okay.
Well, yeah. Ideally, it's probably not the best right now. It's not the darkest room, and I've got a globe light right next to it. So once you've got that, you can count them out. And then what you'll do is you will take the globe light, and you'll record the distance and the visibility of the stars, and just do several trials, moving closer and further, depending on how many trials you want. The general trend should be that as you increase the distance away from a light source, which is supposed to represent the city, this globe light, the visibility of stars should also increase.
Let's do an example of this.
Yeah. So here we also have some pictures of it. Should be a little more visible. You can have the kids try to find a mathematical model to describe the relationship between distance and visibility. That's judging by the count of stars that you can see, or the percentage of stars, the brightness. And then that concludes activity 1. The second activity deals more with the different types of light and how that affects the visibility of stars. And so in this picture, you'll see a book light. This one's different in that it's supposed to represent more of a street light pointing downwards. All the light is directed downwards, and the student should notice that the visibility of the stars should not change because the light is directed downwards, as compared to the globe light. Notice here, where the stars are a lot more washed out, they're not as visible to see. And so the question you want to pose to the students is why this is. Ask them to think about why it might be that the book light is more effective in visibility of stars than the globe light. And then once you kind of get them thinking about it, what you can have them do is try and modify the globe light in a way that the light will all be directed downwards, like the book light did. And so you can have them use any kind of materials you might have. We offer aluminum foil just kind of as a base, but you're not limited to that. You can use anything in the classroom, maybe plastic cups, styrofoam, anything you might have. They'll probably come up with some cool stuff.
There's some shown on here, the last 2 pictures.
Yeah. And so once they get to the conclusion of light shielding, which is proper redirecting of light where you need it. Yeah. So just as an example, you hear that what students come up with globe light, a little cap here, maybe some kid decided to put tinfoil inside of a cup, and that could go over like this. And that's pretty much going to do the same thing as the book light, just redirecting all the light downwards. And so with this, you can hold the paper up, and the student should notice that no matter how close or far away the light source is with proper light shielding, the visibility of the stars should not change.
Too much.
Yeah, not too much. Again, it's just a model, but it'll show how proper light shielding can help us view the stars. And so with that, you can go ahead and have the students. Oh, I forgot to mention, the whole premise of this thing is that the students are addressing issues.
Let me put that up for you. I can get over here.
The issues poster?
It's right here.
Thank you. So students are going to be addressing different issues related to light pollution and quality lighting. And these students are to act as task groups in which they solve these problems by learning about it. So for the night sky one, they've got a couple letters from citizens expressing their views on some things, some of the problems they might have with sky glow. And then if they want more information about sky glow, we also have a poster, Light Pollution in the Night Sky.
I'll get that one up for you too.
All right, coming up in just a second.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm trying to use the same computer, and it's kind of a little challenging.
Yeah, sharing one computer between 2 people is getting a little technical.
I can probably move it back over here though. And okay. I'll look at the share screen. And I'll bring it up here in just a second. Here it is.
All right.
And present to
Connie?
everybody.
Yeah, and there's tons of information on this about light pollution and the night sky, its effect, its history with us. For example, the art that people have made of the night sky, like Starry Night or Galileo's sketches of the moon, gives a little overview about sky glow, what it is, and how it affects the night sky. It also talks about how it affects observatories and astronomers. And especially for observatories, they want to be as far away from any kind of light pollution as possible because it's really expensive to build an observatory. It'd be kind of a waste if you can't see the night sky. There's also some key ideas that students can look up in their spare time if they want to learn a little more about sky glow and light pollution. And then to the right, you have an overview of the activities that we'll have. So, but I've already gone over that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't talk about that too much.
We did great.
Yeah, and so in the end, once they come to the conclusion of proper light shielding, they can present their findings to the mayor, which is typically played by the teacher. And they can do that anyway, like a presentation, discussion. Maybe the task groups will all combine into one body, and then post their ideas to the mayor. Yeah, and that concludes the night sky activity. Hopefully it's effective for all of you guys.
Great. So have as many questions as you want on this. You could think about, for instance, some teachers really like to expand on the project. They would even have the capability of probably going to their city mayor, their actual city mayor, and having the kids make a presentation. I mean, it can go as far as you want it to go, or it can be as adapted to be as short as you need it to go, depending on how much time the teacher has and what that teacher wants to do. But anyway, so I thought we'd ask you if you have any questions from our audience here or from our guests. So I'm going to go over to the Q&A and press on the questions button to see if we have any questions yet from our viewers. And not quite yet, but so if you would like, I'm going to ask maybe starting with Prosperi this time. We'll go from right to left and ask if Prosperi has, if you've, I don't want to put you on the spot in asking whether you've seen the video yet, Prosperi, but do you have any questions that you might like to ask people? Oh, we might need to hear you. So let me go over to the control room and get you unmuted. There.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're okay now. Oh, now you're not.
Okay, the beauty with this project is that I have some ideas on it since I've already done some of the activities already. Yes. So maybe what I would like to remind the viewers and the guests that we'll be working with children. And for the night sky activity, sometimes we may need to be with children in the night, which means we need the permission of the parents for the kids to participate in such an activity. So I think, Connie, you should put an emphasis on that.
Well, for the night sky activity, you actually can do this activity in the classroom as it is, as we presented it. So it doesn't really require you to go outside necessarily. However, I love the way you're inferring, extrapolated, so that it does. They would do the same sort of test, but in a real life situation. So I think you're absolutely right. In that case, you will need to ask this to keep the permission of the parents. Typically, we do this in terms of we kind of have a function. We usually advise teachers to have sort of a star party where they are involving the kids, involving the children, having a little bit of fun, but also doing the activities from the poly-letting teaching kit, for instance. So that may be some way to draw people in and get them happy to give permission to have the kids do this kind of activity. So were you thinking, tell me more about what you were thinking in terms of making this from an activity that's on a tabletop, as we showed you, to an activity that you would do outside. How would you do that, Prosperi?
Okay, the school that I'm working with would rather do the real activity in the night. So that's the reason why we need to seek parental permission for these kids to be away from home in the evening. And so we do both the table arrangements in class, but we also do an activity in the night.
So, for instance, you could pick a couple different kinds of streetlights, one that's very shielded and very task-oriented, so it has all the light on the ground, and you don't really see the bulb itself, and that that prevents any glare, any light trespass. Or you can also contrast that with something that has no shielding at all, and you could go from 15 feet, maybe 15 yards away, and come in closer and closer and closer, and keep looking up, and actually maybe do like the Globe at Night campaign, where you're estimating the brightness of your night sky, basically. So you could do two things at once: Globe at Night and the activity, which is great. And you could do this for both lights and see what kind of a difference it makes. There'll be a point, though, a little bit of a warning, where you're gonna see the bulb from both, not just one, the one without the shielding, but you're gonna actually see the bulb probably if you get right underneath the lamp from the lamp that's very well shielded. So there is a trade-off there. You're going to see it no matter what because you're looking straight up at it. But a lot of bulbs, if they're properly constructed, you'll be able to get very close to it and not see the light itself. So it's pretty nice if it's well shielded. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Then the question that I have is on the standards which have been stated in the instructor's guide. I don't know if all the people using this kit are required to strictly adhere to these standards, or they are free to do the way they want to do.
Oh, these are just by example. Now you can imagine we have 30 countries involved right now. And for the United States, it's not just, the country doesn't just have standards. And the states, the 50 states don't just have standards. There are small areas called districts, and there are hundreds of them in each state. And each district has their own set of standards. And it's like, oh, I want to pull my hair out because there's just so many standards to obey, right? So we took the approach where there are these new standards, the new generation science standards, or next generation science standards, which are being accepted by maybe half the states right now in the United States. So that's just a beginning. That's a place to start. The states are actually voting whether or not they want to accept them and to make them part of most of their school districts' programs. So it's going to take a while, but that's a beginning. That's just something to show we really thought about this and tried to design the activities with respect to these standards. But there's also other standards. I can't go into the education programs of each and every country. It's very difficult to do. So I would be very happy to work with people in other countries who would like to do this. And we would put those standards, whatever you think they are with respect to these activities, on our web pages if you'd like. I mean, that would be helpful because there may be more than just yourself from your country. In Zambia, no, you're in Nigeria? Or Zambia. Yeah, Zambia. Sorry. And we could put those for the use of everybody that's in Zambia, which would be really great. So we have identified about 5 standards at the middle school level and almost as many at the high school level that are, very appropriate for all of the activities. But one of the plans for the future is to actually individually take the 6 activities and see if there are any more of the U.S. standards, at least, that we can apply. And I'm hoping very, very, very much that we can do this with other countries as well. So if you're interested, we can talk more offline, Prosperity, about your individual standards in your country, and we can post them. I think that would be a great thing. So, I'm putting it down as a note. You're in trouble now. You're on the hook. So that would be really nice. That would be a wonderful way to grow the program. And I love your idea about taking this activity and making it a real life activity. So I'm putting those 2 notes down. Thank you. So any more great questions, Prospering?
I think for now that's all.
Okay. Well, if you think of
That's all.
more, let me know. But yeah, oops. Poor David, he's here in the United States. He's just 1,000 miles from me, and yet I think he's having difficulty every now and then. But anyways, we'll try to get back to him in a minute. But Peter, so would you like to ask some questions here?
Okay. My question is going to be on when the students are to count the number of stars they are to see in a quadrant. I don't think it's going to be possible for them to count the star exactly the number they have in each quadrant. I think it's just going to be an estimate. Then they now have to multiply it by 4 to get the number of stars in the circle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. There's a lot of stars on this. An estimate's totally fine to do, especially because I know you probably don't want to sit there holding a piece of paper over this this projector for a good 10 minutes just counting dots. So I totally get that.
All right.
That's why we cut it to 4 to make it a little easier, but still, it's a lot of stars.
Yeah.
Now, we've had very great ideas about using maybe like a Bunsen burner, those little stands with a hole, and make it a little taller, like 3 inches above the star projector, and just rest the paper on there. Just things like that, so the kids don't have to hold it for so long. So there's ways of getting it to be held so they don't get tired. But then again, if you feel, it's totally at the call of the teacher. If the teacher feels that it's going to be too much for the kids to sit there and count everything, it's only one time they do this, because all the other estimates are with them saying, "Oh, I think there's 50% of the stars left." That's a percentage. They don't have to sit there and count each time. It's really at the very beginning, with the lights off, that they count.
Okay.
But, if you want them to count. Anyway, okay. More questions, Peter?
I think for now, no more questions. I don't have any questions.
Okay. Well, I think that probably David will get back on momentarily. He's no longer online, but he was a minute ago. And we'll get back to him in a moment. So, how about? Yeah, what's that? Yeah, let me check the questions again from viewers, and I'm loading them now. Okay, we don't have questions from viewers just yet, but we will shortly, I'm sure. So, Peter and Prosperity. So, there are obviously language differences. Do you think that, would you be taking any of the activities at any point and translating them? And if so, what would you be translating? Or is English good enough?
Okay, for us here.
Sorry. Who wants to go first? Prosperi?
Okay, in the case of Zambia, English is sufficient. But if I have to extend the project to the neighboring countries, then the language barrier comes into mind, because on one side we have a French-speaking country, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then we have also the Portuguese-speaking countries, 2 of them, Angola and Mozambique. So at least for Angola and Mozambique, it may be a little easier to translate through the language expert center, the Portuguese language node of the OAD. I think if these manuals are given to them, they can translate because that's their task.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Rosa Doran, who's heading the Portuguese language translation center. I'm not really sure the formal name, but she does have all the files, and she has somebody there translating right now into Portuguese. I have to see what other languages they might be willing to do. But we also have 3 different Spanish-speaking countries who are also working on the translations in their own dialects. So it's really great. And a couple of them are almost finished.
Is anything being done for French?
Not yet, but I can ask Rosa if French can also be included. So I'm making a note. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good idea. We want to tackle the languages that are most prevalent. I do have somebody I can ask about Chinese. That's awfully difficult. But that's, the biggest language around the world, basically, besides, along with Spanish and English. So that's good. Okay, and how about you, Peter? What do you think about that, for your own use and other people's use?
Okay, for us here in Nigeria, English is okay because English is the language we use in throughout our education system. So there'll be no need to translate to any language for us here in Nigeria. But however, there are some maybe some items like the animal. In the case of the animal activity, the Ketlan wobbler. We don't it's not we don't know it as Ketlan wobbler. We'll call it in our native name here.
And you were telling me earlier when we were offline, it's called Archer? Archer?
Yes, Archer. Yes, in Igbo language. That's in Igbo language.
Equal language. I think I'm trying to remember these things. Yeah, that'll be very interesting. So Peter and I were talking about trying to find out whether there's a similar problem for this Kirkland's warbler, which is called Arta in Igbo language. What I'm saying correctly. But if there's a similar problem that they have there in Nigeria, as there is between the Bahamas and Michigan, where they travel to have their babies. So that would be very interesting. And the person to ask, actually, the person who recommended this bird in the first place was Travis Longford. I mentioned in another Hangout, and he is an ecologist extraordinaire. He deals with how light pollution affects urban wildlife, and and this is one of the birds that he recommended. So I'll ask him. I didn't realize that they were beyond the United States, but that would be very interesting to find out and do some more. And that's a good segue into the fact, Peter, that we really should advocate to everybody out there to please let us know if you want to adapt any of the activities. The 2 activities that require or could have more adaptation than the others are the animal activity, where you can do an animal that's regional to your area, and it'll give the students more ownership over doing the activity. And the other one is the energy activity, where you could do it of your own city that's nearby. So you could set the whole thing up to do with respect to your city, and the kids would be, again, much more interested in doing something that's in their own country rather than another country. So we didn't have enough of the manpower, and I thought that would be a nice going further, as they say in education, another extension of the activity, if we can get people from around the world to help expand on this and make it more amenable to their needs. Anyway,
Okay.
so that's my 2 cents on that. So what do you think? Have you looked at the energy activity yet, Peter?
I think just come again.
Have you looked at the energy activity yet?
Okay, no, not yet. I have not.
You'll probably find out that you'd like to make it of a city in your area.
Okay, okay.
Which is totally understandable. Yeah, totally understandable. Okay, so I'm going to check out the Q&A again here, and I think that David is going in and out. We'll have to see if we can get him back on. I'll also try to check my email. Oops. Okay. Just as a reminder to people who are viewing, please feel free to ask questions. That's what we're here for, so that things can become clearer to you. And you never know, what you ask is typically on the thoughts of other people as well. So you would be helping not only yourself in having the questions answered, but also in helping other people that are out there for the same question. So please feel free to ask me questions. So I'm going to just check my email here because poor David, we've lost him again, and I see nothing from David. Got it. Okay. So I might. So, do you have any other questions? I'm gonna call David because he just I have his phone number here.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that it's Connie's birthday today.
Yes,
So,
it's my
happy
birthday today.
Connie.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better way to spend my birthday.
I know. She had to get up at probably the crack of dawn on her birthday, which is not how I would want to start my birthday.
Yes, before the sun rose, I got up today.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting. Yeah, it's a great way to spend my birthday.
Right.
Thank you. And actually, something else happened today that happened 2 days ago. I was asked by CBS, which is a broadcasting company here in the United States, one of the major ones, to do a radio show, and so I'll be taping that today. Actually,
Nice.
it's on light pollution, guys. Go figure.
All the best on that.
Thank you. So we can't get through to David. So we've lost David. I'm sorry. He has some good questions too, coming from an IDA chapter. So okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's go over the activity a little bit in more detail. Then, is there anything that you two would do differently with the activity? How would you present it, and with what students would you present it to? So, do you have a teacher that you're working with? Are you going into the classrooms yourselves? How is it being done, Peter?
Can I take it first?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. For me, I have teachers that I'm working with. So I don't go into class myself, but the teacher does. So what we do is, first of all, I sit with the teacher. We discuss the activity so that I make sure the teacher understands exactly what he's supposed to do with the children. And then the teacher does that. So I've picked on 2 schools at the moment. One school which I use the other time, and then there's another new school. So we hope that this new school will also adapt to these activities and produce something like the other school we were working with in 2013.
Oh, that setup sounds absolutely perfect, Prosper. It sounds really great. That's what I hope other people will do. They partner with the school, they partner with the teacher, at least one teacher, and they train the teacher. They're there to answer questions. Are you going to be there when they do the activity?
Yeah, I think I'll try to be present when they do the activities, yes.
Okay, that sounds great. I hope it goes well. So take pictures so you can send them to me and we can brag. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
And don't forget, one thing that we have to remind people is before you start the activities, most of the people that are watching will have a kit. And for those with a kit, when you start the activities, we really expect you to do the survey. So there's a pre-survey that you do before they start the activities, so you can get sort of a foundation for what the kids know or don't know. And it's okay. I mean, it's not supposed to be graded or anything like that. It's just for us to get a good idea of what they do and do not know, what their views are on light pollution. And then after they've done all the activities, come back and they take the sort of a post survey, they call it, and the teacher takes a post survey. So both the students and teachers have 2 different post surveys to take, and from that we can see the difference and know how much they've grown in terms of their ideas. on light pollution, and it really does help us. And of course, the teachers are asked further ideas that help us actually improve the activity. So it's both learning outcome for the students and improvements for the activity. So we would really appreciate it if you can please do these surveys. Okay. All right, Peter. I think I probably bored you long enough with the survey stuff. So what do you think? How would you approach this with the teacher?
Okay, for us here in Nigeria, I'm not the only one on the team. We are actually 4 persons working on this team, and for the schools we're going to be picking, we'll work with maybe 2 teachers who will work together with us and we'll train them. That is how it's going to be.
Say it slowly now. I can hear you. You might.
Okay. I was saying we are 4 in my team.
Yes.
Okay, and for any school we are going to pick, we'll ask maybe 2 teachers to join us, and they will be there to help us coordinate the students.
Yeah, working with 2 teachers at each school is a very good idea because teachers like to partner with other teachers. That they are more likely to do the activity if they partner with another teacher. It's a good idea.
But in our own case, I don't think we'll do the activity at night. It's going to be during the day, but would ask the school to provide a dark room to fit the activity.
Now that's a very good observation, Peter, because 3 of the 6 activities require a dark room. And that's this activity on the night sky, the one that's called light trespass, and the one that's on glare. So those 3 out of the 6 do require a very dark room, especially this one. This one requires the darkest room. Yeah. So the one on animals, energy, and safety don't necessarily require any lights off at all. The safety one is where they take the lux meter and they're going to go around to different rooms in the school. And I know that Prospery will want to do this at night outside, so that's okay too. That's ideal, actually, for the safety activity and the lux meter. And that's where they get different measurements from these different rooms, and they compare it to the standards that are listed in the activity. So it's really kind of a cool activity. So any other great questions, Peter? Or perspectives on?
I'm okay.
That's good. Okay, so I'll just go one more time to see if there's any questions. Come on, guys out there in the viewland, you gotta help us out here.
Just one general question, Connie.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Are you able to know the number of viewers on this program? Those who are logged in?
Yes, we get it at the bottom of our screen, and then we also get it after when they can view the video on YouTube, and it counts how many people view on just below the video itself. There's a thing that says viewers on the right-hand side, and you can see how many, in maybe another week have looked at it. So, but it goes onto YouTube right away, and that's really nice. The problem that I'm finding, which is a disappointment to me, is that you have to have a Google account in order to be a viewer and ask questions. Anyone can look at what you're doing. You can look at it live, but if you don't have a Gmail email account, then you can't get on to ask questions. So half the people that are part of our project have Gmails, and the other half don't. And I've been trying to nudge people to have a Gmail because it's free and it's really nice, and you can have your own YouTube account, and all sorts of things can happen when you have a Google account or a Gmail account. But people, I understand people are busy and they have their priorities, and it doesn't always happen that they get a Gmail account. So, and I didn't know this when I had started, and I found out after the first Google Hangout. So I do admonish people to get a Gmail account. It's very easy and free to do. Anyway, so yes. I was going to check it out there to see if there are any further questions. I'm pretty sure there are not, but let's just check. We had some really good ones last time, so I was hoping for some good ones this time. Okay. So let's see. So we've talked about translations. We've talked about adapting the activities. We've talked about some really good questions that Prosperi had on pointing out that we should do some as real life situation as we can, especially with the activity outside. I thought it was a really good question. We also talked about standards a bit. So those are very good points, all of these 4 points to make when you're thinking about these activities. And also to note that they're adaptable, very, very adaptable in terms of either the length of time you spend on them, how involved you can get with them. Like Prosperi wants to actually go outside and test this on actual lights, which is the correct thing to do if you have the time. So all these things, it's a truly adaptable set of activities, and we appreciate your involvement. Okay. So, okay, so let's see. So you have, with those 4 things in mind that we've talked about, are there any other perspective topics that you have in terms of question marks so far? So how about you, Prosperi? What do you think? You've looked at the video. Is there anything about the video that was unclear?
For me, everything is clear.
Thank you. Okay. And yourself, Peter? Have you had a chance to look at the night sky video?
Yes, I did. The video is clear. Everything is okay.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's only 7.5 minutes long. It's a pretty short and very direct. It's not that. Very direct video. Yeah, all of our students are like this. Believe me, they're great. So we're very.
I'm running on only a few hours of sleep, so everything's just fine.
Uh-oh. Oh, you're worse than I am.
I don't know. You get up really early. So you probably have even less than I. I don't know how you're so peppy. Maybe it's the birthday. Maybe it should
Could be the birthday. We're going to have a big celebration tonight. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's birthday.
Anyway, okay. So I would admonish, too, in this particular activity, to let kids explore. That is, this whole premise is built on something called problem-based learning. And in the United States, this is becoming more and more the way to do things, especially with the next generation science standards. They are very, very focused on letting the students explore and discover concepts for themselves. And to do this, though, with light pollution, I know I've said this before, but students have no idea usually what light pollution is. And so that's why we have supplied a poster on each of the issues, or which are also the activities, in order for them to get some foundation in terms of what we want them to explore. So after they've looked at that and they've done maybe some research online, they can do the activity and have a better idea of what we're talking about. But it's in that activity that they can actually take little side trips and explore. So, for instance, something that Carlton showed you a little earlier is they can make their own shields. So I love this shield here that somebody made. It's just a regular plastic little tiny cup that's just big enough to go over the globe light that we make out of this mag light, which is in your kit. You put it as a base there to make it stand up properly. And I'm going to put this over here, and Alton's going to show you. Put that little ping pong ball that we've drilled a hole into. Very nice. And you've made it into a globe light. And it, it's real life as we could get it. But if you'll notice, it just makes a pretty good shield over the entire globe light. And if you look at to see if it's task oriented or not, and that means is it doing its job, you'll see a beautiful circle of light below, just below where you need it. And it's a very, you can't see it here, but if you were in the dark, you could see it pretty nicely. So let the kids explore, make their own shield, and that's why we give them the aluminum foil in the kit. Now this is our ultimate shields, but that's something we supply you with too, but we don't show that to the students until after they've done some exploring with their own shields. We have a couple of other ones here. They might use bottle caps, but they're not good, and why aren't they good? What do you think, Prosperi? Why aren't they good? We have bottle caps over here, show that. Yeah. So the bottle cap, you can just get off any bottle at all and use it as a cap. Here's one that's solid, and if you just go like this, you are preventing the light from going up, but you're not preventing the light from going out towards the person. So here's a cute little one somebody made out of cardboard, and it has a reflective part to it on the inside, which makes the optics for the light function a lot better because there's more reflectance downward. But so that one, they can also, really get kind of detailed in terms of the type of shield that they make and its task, how well it works. So, using reflective substances to make the light go down. And noting that it can't be clear, it has to be solid, it has to be fully shielded so that you don't see the bulb at all, but it's task-oriented, so it's down on the surface. So all these little things are things to go over with the students in this particular activity. Okay.
I think it would be quite interesting to allow the students to make their own designs. We can come up with some interesting designs, I think.
I think you're right, Prosperi. Yeah. Whoops. Why did I go on mute? There you go. Yeah, I think so too. And feel free to. The only thing we put in here at the moment is the aluminum foil, because you can manipulate the aluminum foil to any shape you want, and it's reflective and stuff like that. But you can think of other things to use if you so desire. And start with a bottle cap and make the sides, and do all sorts of things if you want to, or other little things like this. This is just, again, a clear plastic with aluminum foil on the inside. So, all sorts of things you can do. So very good, guys. So any other thoughts on that? What do you think, Peter? You've been a little bit silent for the last 2 minutes.
Okay. It's a nice idea. I'm okay with all the activities.
Well, good.
Yeah, they're great.
So how soon are you two going to be able to start on this activity? Have you started already? Or are you going to wait till the fall? Or what are you guys up to in terms of this activity? What do you think, Peter?
Okay. Presently, some of our teammates, they're out on an outreach program and about the universe in the bush. So they went out today. That is why Machuku Ezechi is not around. So maybe we'll have to get permission from my boss in the office, that is Dr. Kiri, and we'll start when you ask us to start.
Well, keep us posted.
Okay.
For Zambia, I think we are planning to do some activities during the first 2 weeks of July, because the other 2 weeks the pupils will be busy with their end of term tests, as the schools will close in August. So we'll do a bit in the month of July, then we'll break for a month, then resume in September. That's when the schools will open in September for term 2.
We only have a month.
Term 3. Sorry?
We only have 1 month off, huh?
Yeah, they break for 1 month.
Do you, so is it the same class or a different class that starts in the fall?
The way the system is that there are 3 terms in a year. So the first term begins in January, and it ends in the first week of April. So they break for 1 month.
Okay.
And then they resume in May for term 2. They break in August for 1 month, and then they resume in September until they do the Okay, those in examination classes begin their exams in October. Those who are not in exam classes go up to December, the first week of December, and then they close for another month.
That's I like that kind of here along the calendar year, basically. And I've noticed when I was doing some research on the various countries in Africa, probably half of them follow that calendar of being all year, the calendar year, and the others start in September and go to May or June or something, like the United States, most of the United States. So I think, and I was noticing too that it's not always the case, but mostly the ones that are more south, it seemed to me, in Africa were following the calendar year, and more northern ones seem to be following, or it might have been more like the British tradition versus some other tradition, too, but for some countries too. But so half of them were one calendar and half of them were the other calendar in Africa, it seemed to be. And I think that is that the case you find? I mean, I'm just an onlooker. I'm just observing and noting. So, is that the case? Plus, pretty half the countries in Africa have the calendar that's.
I didn't get your question.
Oh, okay. So my question is, half the countries in Africa seem to start in January and end in December, and the other half seem to start in September and end in like June. Is that true? That's what I've been finding. But
yeah, I think I'm aware of most countries starting in January, especially in the southern part of Africa, and most countries that were previously ruled by Britain.
That's exactly what that's what I had said, actually. Yeah. You said it better than I did, though. Okay. Well, we're coming up on an hour already. I can't believe how the time has flown by. We have 3 minutes to the end of the hour for the Hangout. And I want to thank you very, very much for joining us, both Prosperi and Peter. And you guys, always, 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 I very much enjoy the perspective from the countries in Africa. And I appreciate the time that you take and the time that you're investing in this activity. And I want you to know that we're going to be there for you guys whenever you need any questions answered. And also to talk about supplies. Now remember, these kits, we tell people please to replicate them as many times as they want to, just to keep in mind, if you would be so kind as to acknowledge that the activities were created at the National Observatory in the United States, and to also follow up with your surveys with me, and please to brag as much as you want to as to how well things are going. Just send us photographs so that I can put you on Facebook and show everybody around the world how great you're doing. So feel free to keep in contact with me. I think my email is plastered all over the place, but just in case you don't know it, it's cwalker@n as in Nancy, oao.edu. So noao.edu. And my first initial, last name @noao.edu. And I want to thank Carlton again for being such a great assistant. And thank you, Peter, and thank you, Prosperi, for taking your time.
Welcome. It's been a pleasure being on this program.
It really is a pleasure. I'm so thrilled you're continuing to do Dark Skies projects with us, Prosperi. And Yuaji's also continuing. He's another important person. And Peter, it's very wonderful that you've come on board as well.
Okay, so, thank you.
And I'm sorry that we lost David, but he'll be on other programs, I'm sure. Okay. Take care now.
Happy birthday, and you have fun.
Thank you. We will. Thank you. Bye now.